Hey everyone, my name is Kajol and today I'm going to go through what skills you need to have to be a great consultant. And it's fine if you're not up to scratch with these skills. The biggest thing that you can do is identify where you're weaker at and make a plan to improve that. So let's get straight to it. These are my top 8 soft skills that consulting firms are really looking for. So the first skill that you need to have is time management. Often you'll end up working on a lot of different things doing at the same time, and things can get super crazy. If you don't learn how to manage your time, you'll end up stressed. Understanding what you need to do for your deliverables, understanding timelines, and then working backwards can allow you to come up with a plan, and that can really help you. And I feel like a hypocrite talking about this because I'm really bad at it. But coming up with some to-do lists for the end of the day or for the end of the week can really allow you to track your progress against them and ensure that you're meeting your deadlines. If you're unsure on what to prioritize, make sure you sit down with your team and ask them what's most important and what can wait. Managing your timelines means you're really dependable, and following through on tasks and following through on deadlines means that you can leave a great impression on others. The next skill that you need to have is communication, and it's a no-brainer. In consulting, you're going to have to speak to people. So some tips to consider when you're communicating with people, both verbally and orally, include firstly, being able to adapt your communication style based on who you're talking to. You need to keep in mind, what do they really care about? What are the key points they want to learn from your conversation? Let me give you an example. Let's say you've built a model. With your team, you want to go into how you got the data, who you spoke to, and the process of you building the model. And with your client, you want to give them the so what. What are the key insights and options available to them based off the model? And how do they best process information? What style do they prefer? Let's say it's someone who has little time and needs fast-paced conversations with no detail. They want to see the key points. Others prefer seeing things and they need graphs and images to process information. Or maybe it's someone who needs to be taken through things and you need to put in some time in their diaries and actually take them through the deck you created. Understanding how each individual processes information can make your life a whole lot easier. Another communication tip is to be clear and concise. No one is going to read a 10-page email and you probably won't get your point across. As well as try to think about how you're articulating yourself. Think about your body behavior, think about how you're speaking. For example, I speak really quickly and I'm trying to slow down and give myself some extra thinking time with clients. And my final communication tip is to be proactive with it. Over-communication is way better than under-communicating. Communicate what environment allows you to work to the best of your abilities, what you don't understand, play back points so you're all on the same page, and even what you've accomplished for the whole day. For example, whilst we've been working from home, I try to let my team know what I've done today and what I'm planning to do the next day. And I know you may feel really uncomfortable to talk about your feelings and it may feel really weird, but your team won't know unless you've spoken up. And at the end of the day, they do want you to work to the best of your abilities and they do care. The next skill is curiosity. And having a willingness to learn, having a mindset of wanting to improve can really allow you to go into some incredible opportunities and help you professionally develop. Not going to lie, you're going to be on projects which you probably hate, but there's always something to take away from that project, always something to learn from. Being curious allows you to develop the way you're doing things. Keep asking yourself, how do I do this better? How can I improve it? If you have a massive desire to learn, if you just hold on to it, you'll get through anything that consulting throws you. And this ties in nicely with my next skill, and that is creativity, and I'm not talking about art. If you really want to add some value to your client work, try to think outside the box. Try to think of paths which other people have not thought about yet, or even new ways of doing things. To do that, try to push yourself into an environment which fosters creativity. For me, I try to go for a walk after a long meeting, let's say, and I use that time to ask questions which forces me to think outside the box. Coming up with some innovative but feasible solutions can really differentiate you from being a good consultant to being a great consultant. By analytical thinking, I basically mean being able to problem solve, and there are ways you can become a better problem solver. One thing I try to do is come up with a hypothesis, and that is like a proposed conclusion. It doesn't have to be right, but what you're doing is that you're separating your emotions and you're trying to find data to back your conclusion. If you find no data, change your hypothesis until you come to the right conclusion. Try and force yourself to come up with different ways of solving the problem so you can understand what the best method is. Good problem solvers can also see the big picture as well as the small picture, and I call this zooming in and zooming out. Zooming in to work with the data and zooming out to understand what the data is actually telling you and the consequences it has. Having amazing attention to detail can also allow you to spot things which others can't. And I'm not talking about that 0.1 millimeter misalignment you may find on boxes in PowerPoint decks, but being able to take a step back, understand the picture, and connect the dots between everything, and piece together the data. And this really allows you to understand the true insights. Now, I'm not talking about yoga, but I am talking about being ready for anything. At any given time, you're going to be asked to, completely drop everything you're doing, pivot to a new task. It's the nature of consulting. You need to be able to adapt to your team's needs as well as your client needs. And that could include coming in at 7 a.m. because that's the time your client comes in, or even, let's say, cancelling social plans because you have to work late. If you can adapt to a new culture, a new project, a new team quickly, it can make your whole life a lot more easier. And also be flexible with your mindset. Your opinion is not the only right opinion out there. There are so many different viewpoints, so many people different to learn from. So have a listen, because your opinion is not always the right one. The next skill you need is being a good team player. And you're going to be working in a team for probably the rest of your consulting career. So being able to understand your team's needs, support them, and just be a good team player is really key. And that's not just with your internal team, but also with your client team as well. Your performance is not just judged on your impact you've made, but as well as the collective success of your team. So get to know your team, understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, and build relationships with them. And I don't mean those kind of relationships, but have their back. So let's say someone has something going on in their personal lives, you can be there to help them, and that could be even taking off some of the workload from them. In consulting, kindness can go a really long way. So if you have someone's back now, they'll eventually have yours as well. And let's say you don't like someone in your team. You've just got to suck it up and just be civil. To be honest, at the end of the day, all that matters is making your client happy. My final skill is to listen. And you're getting paid to solve your client's problems, and you can't do that without listening to their wants and needs. Listening helps you to understand your client's situation and truly gain some trust with them because you're on board with everything they're saying. In meetings with clients, I often ask clarifying questions or play back what they've said to show I've listened, and even take some notes. Listening can also allow you to react more quickly and propose more tailored solutions for your client. So listen, question, and confirm. So that wraps up this week's episode. Let me know what you think the most important soft skill to have is, and I'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe.